That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? In an online space that is always filled with fake test screening reports that are 99% of the time always bullshit, we have verified, confirmed, first people who have seen the Superman movie, and they say it's great. You do have to take it with the grain of salt that they work for Warner Brothers, though. This comes to us from the folks over at Superhero Hype. Warner Brothers CEO shares promising reaction to James Gunn's Superman. Now, it does need to be pointed out that these people have not worked on the Superman movie. This is not their movie. This is James Gunn's, but still. The CEO and chairpersons of Warner Brothers, Pam Abdy and Michael DeLuca, who, by the way, are both riding high right now. They're celebrating a streak of success that has been long overdue for them. Recently appeared on the Smartless podcast to talk about Superman and what they felt after watching it for the first time. DeLuca praised James Gunn for his work on the upcoming movie and said, "We've seen an early cut of Superman, and I don't want to bury the lead. There's a lot of marketing about to roll out ahead of its release, but Gunn really understood the assignment. His heart's in the right place, his aim is true, and we're really excited about this new version of DC." Abdi also joined in by referring to Gunn as great. DeLuca further described Gunn as a unique director and stated, "I used to chase James as a producer when he did Slither," still my all-time favorite James Gunn movie, by the way, "and started with his low-budget movies. He's really unique, and I think DC's in great hands with the two of them." All right, so again, first thing I want to verify for people, because there's still some confusion about this. Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca are not involved with DC Pictures. DC is a completely separate arm of the overall Warner Brothers Discovery thing, and James Gunn and Peter Safran report directly to the acts of Zaslav. They don't work with Abdi and DeLuca. The only place where Abdi and DeLuca get involved is as their distribution arm, because Warner Brothers will be the distribution arm of the DC films, so they're going to be distributing it. Now look, the reason I still think this is interesting is because normally when we've seen this happen with Marvel and Disney, when they have a movie coming out that they're not all that amped on, they just don't talk about it, right? They don't say, obviously they don't say bad things about it. And if a reporter asks them, say, "Oh, we're excited." But other than that, they just won't talk about it. They just won't say anything. DeLuca and Abdi, having not been involved with the making of Superman, at least volunteering, coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, we've seen it. James Gunn gets it. This new DC is going to be great." While you still have to take that, admittedly, with a giant boulder-sized grain of salt. Because, I mean, of course, they're involved with Warner Brothers. There's clearly bias. There is. I still found it interesting that they would volunteer and want to talk about it. Because, again, we've seen with some bigger studios like Disney and whatnot, sometimes they'll just stay quiet about it and just not say anything. Anyway, so is this huge news? No. But I still think it's interesting. Anyway, Chris, you see that Abdi and DeLuca are talking about they've seen it. Mm-hmm. They seem to be really excited about it, even though they didn't have any part of making it. Anything to take away from there? Something? Nothing? Where did you see it?
I mean, I feel like you gotta say that you're excited about it when it's your product. Other films come to mind that everyone was very, very excited about. The Flash, which... Yeah. You all enjoyed more than me. I super did not like that movie. And I tried real hard, guys. I tried to go in there being like, you know what, Michael Keaton? You know what, Supergirl? Let's go. Even the tomato aisle scene, I was like, this is promising, but oof. So I feel like a lot of times the execs and the people in power do have to have that lovely little PR statement. That being said, Pam and Mike are on a big hot streak right now, and I do think this film looks very promising and everything. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but I also don't really take the word of, you know, the execs on like, yeah, it's a really great product. Of course you think so. You got to sell it to me.
Yeah, and again, take it with a giant grain of salt. Anyway, Rob, you heard their comments on that. What do you think?
Well, I mean, even though they're technically DC Studios is detached, Warner Brothers is still the overarching studio. And they're not going to say, I think Mike DeLuca is actually sincere in what he said, because they have a lot riding on this, because they have another movie in production already. You know, they're moving forward. They've got the Lantern series in production as well. So there's two other big films, or one film and one TV series following Superman. They bet a lot. Look, they're all in on this. And I think it's been a long time since I've seen a studio as all in on anything as they are on the DC Studios and Safran and James Gunn's leadership. So, and they've been pretty steadfast in their support of what's going on there. And of course, we as fans are looking at everything they do with a microscope. And there's a lot of people out there. It's weird that want them to fail, which I think is bizarre. I don't think they will. I mean, when has James Gunn ever really failed anything? But I do think they're sincere in this, and I think that what Mike DeLuca is even responding to, if I could read between the lines, is that this Superman movie that we're getting is a different experience than any of the superhero movies that we've been getting for the last 25 years. And I've always believed that this is his more fantastical, more DC Silver Age take, at least what I've come to understand, is going to be something that we haven't seen, and I would imagine it's going to put a smile on people's faces in a way that they can't yet understand until they experience it.
I would say too, though, like their comments were very measured, honestly.
Yeah.
Sure.
I remember
crazy hype men, but
no. Look, I remember when Sony was about to release The Amazing Spider-Man 2, we had execs over there saying, "Oh, heads over here are giddy. It's our Dark Knight." That's a quote.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Woof.
these are measured by that standard.
sure.
Yeah, and it was not. By the way, I just want to point out one of our live viewers, Marcus Y, said, speaking of Superman, saying, "I heard the end of the movie is a metaphor for losing a childhood cousin." Which, if you know, you know. Anyway, and just to clear something up, just so you understand, like some people, I saw somebody writing, it was like, what do you mean it's not under Warner Brothers? Think about it like this. Warner Brothers Picture Group and DC Films. Think of, to compare it to Disney, where you have Lucasfilm and you have Marvel. They are, and separately, you also have Disney Motion Pictures, which is a completely separate thing. And so that's how it's kind of structured. Like Kevin Feige has no authority over Lucasfilm and its films. Abdi and DeLuca don't have any authority over DC. There, it's a completely separate branch. But Warner Brothers Pictures is still the distributor, the distribution arm of it. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Stitch Fix. Guys, you know I love movies, but you also know I have absolutely no fashion sense, and I absolutely hate shopping for my clothes. But thankfully, I have found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. With Stitch Fix, I get a stylist who understands my style, size, and budget, and they do all the shopping for me. Because look, shopping and figuring out style can be overwhelming, especially for somebody like me. When it comes to getting dressed, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. That's why I love having a Stitch Fix stylist. They really know what works for me. I get pieces that make me look great, and it's a real confidence boost. You just give your stylist your size, style, and budget preferences. You get to order boxes when you want and how you want, no subscription required. They send you personalized pieces, and the fit is always on point. No stores, no crowds, no stress. Just personalized looks that you will love. So guys, make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Campea. That's stitchfix.com/Campea. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? You can't get too excited about, people in the same studio saying that, oh, this new movie's great. You can't get too excited about that. But I still think it's interesting. Instead of avoiding the topic of the thing, they dove right into it. Anyway, how much do you take away from it? Very little, nothing at all, a little bit? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.